Episode 162 Above Ground Podcast, The Heart of Nippertown with Jim Gilbert.
Disclaimer. The hosts of this podcast, Timothy Patrick and Will Foley, are by no means medical professionals. However, having lived experience with mental illness themselves, they have gained useful perspectives on common mental health issues that some of us struggle to overcome on a daily basis. By sharing their stories, they hope to create connection. By creating connection, they hope to help you find your purpose. And through purpose, we can all begin to build the foundation for positive mental health. This is Above Ground Podcast.
Coming at you live with real conversations about mental health from the perspective, it's time for Above Ground Podcast. Now your hosts, TPP and Will Foley.
This episode is brought to you by NipperFest. Nippertown is bringing you some of the best music from the Capital Region and calling it NipperFest. NipperFest is a local music festival and it's happening on Saturday, July 23rd at the Music Haven, Central Park, Schenectady, New York. Local food, local craft beer. Did I mention it's free? July 23rd it's happening, so bring down the family. Stop at the Above Ground Podcast table to say hi. P.S. This is kid and dog friendly.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Above Ground Podcast.
Above Ground Podcast, because you can't serve below.
What is up, TPP? It is July, baby. And we're getting close. July 23rd at the Schenectady Central Park Music Haven is the inaugural NipperFest. And we are joined none other this morning by the co-owner and the mastermind behind Nippertown, Mr. Jim Gilbert. Mr. Gilbert, it's so good to see you this morning, buddy. How are you?
Great. How are you guys?
Good, doing good. Thanks for being here.
We're above ground, man. We're doing good. You know, we woke up.
What a wonderful summer we're having in the Capital Region.
Absolutely.
Great local music.
Absolutely. Great local music. We've got an incredible we just have an incredible scene here in 518 all the way around. And we know, as everyone knows who follows Above Ground Podcast, this is a mental health podcast. And Jim and Above Ground Podcast and Nippertown have been working together now for over a year, and episodes come out every Wednesday. And Jim has been awesome to allow us the space and to do what we do. Laura, his beautiful wife, Laura D, was on episode 142 called Recipes. And Jim, the reason I brought you on, besides the fact that this Saturday is NipperFest and we will all be together on Saturday at the Music Haven, is that you actually have your own stuff going on in your own mind, right?
Oh, yeah, constantly. I can't get out of my own mind.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I can't get out of my own way. So I am diagnosed with severe ADHD, and all the stuff that goes with it. You know, as a kid, I was the hyperactive child, the kid who lived in the principal's office, straight A student, but couldn't get his homework done, couldn't finish, I was just, nobody knew what was going on. I wasn't actually diagnosed until I was in my 30s.
Wow, that happens a lot. There's been a lot of adult diagnosed ADHD in recent years.
So, so I, like everyone else, I have my cocktail. My cocktail includes a lot of Adderall. And it's funny, like if I don't take it, Laura knows, because like I'm all over the road. I'm, I'll be like, have you taken your meds? Because Adderall is one of those things that goes in and out of your system fairly quickly. And for me especially. But it's funny, like I joke around it. Like I could take a 30 and take a nap, where I need it to kind of level the playing field. I also joke that ADD is my superpower because I can juggle all these projects at once,
That was actually going to be my question before you even said it, is that, it could actually be somewhat of a, I'll dare I say, positive thing, just because I know that you're, obviously you run Nippertown, so that within itself is busy, but you're also at like 99% of the local shows and taking pictures and writing and not to mention, you're a husband and have your own, family life.
Yeah, I mean, we have 5 kids between us. I have 3 boys. The youngest one just graduated from high school. I have a full-time job. I'm over at overit.com or OverIt Media. Yeah,
Dan Dinsmore.
yeah, man, another great guy. Important to our local scene. But yeah, I work. My mind doesn't shut off. But I do take the meds, and what happens is instead of 100 things going on in my head at one time, it narrows it down to like 10, and I can manage 10 things at once. But seriously, without the meds, I have 100 things going on in my head at any given time, and it's too much.
I I want to know from your perspective, since you do have so many things going on and you are such a creative guy and stuff. How has your ADHD been a negative when it comes to your creativity and being able to release things?
Completing projects, man, because the beginning, I love diving into projects, getting them going, seeing them, how they're going to end. And then once I see the finish line, I lose my interest because it's like, all right, I did the hard part. I actually like the hard part. Um, I like going through the problems. I like diving in the struggle. Um, but then once it works, then that's when I kind of want to hand it off to somebody else. Like, okay, this problem's fixed. Now it's easy. I want to hand that off to somebody else and give me the next hard project. Give me the next complicated thing. That's a struggle, man, because I don't give myself any time for rest. I don't. I tell other people all the time, you gotta rest and you gotta sharpen your axe. But I don't
That's
do it
awesome.
myself. I
That's really
just don't.
cool.
I don't
Well,
do it myself.
well, we're good at giving it. We're good at doling out advice and not taking it.
Yeah, right? Like,
I think that's
Yeah,
the reason why the pharmaceutical, that's the reason why the pharmaceutical business exists.
mhm.
I'm all about work life balance for everyone else. But with me, I work and then I work and then I work. But I like what I do. I love my job at OverIt. I love my job with Nippertown. I love planning NipperFest. It gives me my energy. It gives me,
That's
uh,
very cool. That definitely seems like a positive, I think, as long as you can kind of, find some of that balance. And I think with the meds and, I don't want to say, I think, having Laura there too, like you had mentioned earlier, is a huge help. Will and I just talked, I think it was last week or the week before, just recently an episode where, to have somebody that's close to you like that, that can kind of not necessarily call you out, but say, hey, you're a little bit different, than you typically are. So I think that's a huge
it,
bonus.
it is. But, I have to get better at spending time with Laura. Um, I love I love hanging out with Laura. She's awesome. Um, but I tend to, when we are together, I tend to have a laptop open and I'm working. And in hindsight, I did that a lot with my kids too, and now they're all grown. Um, so those are the side effects. Those are the negative side effects of ADD and workaholic and whatnot. Is I I try to be something to everybody, and I probably missed out on some of the important moments of family life, my kids' life and stuff because I was working or going to do a concert or, photographing a concert or just head down in a project, like have to get this website done, have to get this updated. Um, so those are the negative effects, right? Up until my honeymoon, Laura and I got married. We had a honeymoon down in Tampa just a couple months ago. It was the first time that I didn't open up my laptop every day on vacation.
Wow.
And,
Congratulations. That's a big step for you, though, man. That's
and I mean in over 10 years. Because before I had Nippertown, I also owned half of New York State Music. I was the back end, the computer side. And before that, I ran Upstate Live, Upstate Metal, right? So I've been doing this for a long time.
right.
And every vacation, I mean, I'd bring my laptop, and every day I'd plan a couple hours of work. And
Is that because is there a reason that is the reason that you work so much? Is it because of the fact that you can't shut your brain off? Is it habitual, or is there some force that forces you to negatively see yourself that says, "Oh my God, if I don't get this done, I'm a piece of shit," or I mean, and I don't mean it to be that vulgar, but it's just we do say that about ourselves.
You nailed it. It's all three of those things. I don't want to let other people down, right? So
Right.
like Nippertown or any of the sites I've worked on, especially Nippertown, I reiterate, it's consistency. So if people are used to 3, 4 articles a day, good articles a day, what nobody does. You
No.
go anywhere, nobody does what we do, right? But we've laid this consistency of 3, 4, 5 good articles a day on the local scene, what's happening locally, right? And we're essentially a volunteer organization. But it's that I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want to have a day where there's only 1 or 2 articles. I don't want to have a day where we go dark. It's I don't want to disappoint anyone. And in doing so, my standards are high. It's that consistency. If you're going to do something, you got to do it. My father used to say second place was the first loser, right? It was ingrained in me. If you're going to do something, do it right. And so that means while you're on vacation, you got to make sure it's done right. Now, I want to give a huge thanks to Mike Stampalia. Mike Stampalia came on Nippertown a little over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. That's the other thing, is I have no concept of time. And that I didn't have any concept of time before COVID. And then with
So COVID probably just blew it right out of the water.
exacerbated it. But Mike Stampalia, he's come on. He does our daily tip, our today's tips, top tips every day. So those best bets that go out every morning at 7 o'clock, Mike does those, and he does them every day. And he also does weekly announcements. Like, he follows every time somebody announces a new show, he collects all that, adds it to the calendar. He does all that. But then he's also stepped up to edit and write. I brought Mike on as a partner July 1st, because he gave me the ability to go 4 days on vacation without opening up a computer. I trust him. He has the same vision that I have, and he has that same consistency and that same drive. So I'm so fortunate that we found each other,
Yeah, and while we're on this topic, because obviously you do have high standards, so what I appreciate about you is that you've given us a chance to get this information out to more people, and you've brought us in, and I appreciate that very much. So thank you for allowing us to be a part of Nippertown, man.
Well, I thank you guys for what you do, because we're in the scene. The three of us, we're in the scene, right? We don't go a year without losing 2, 3, 4 friends to either suicide or suicide by drug overdose, right? We have friends who abuse drugs and alcohol. We have friends who anxiety is a daily struggle. The music and art scene, I think everybody, but I'm going to say the music and art scene, we just have our fair share of mental health issues. And you guys give a forum where it's okay to talk about it, right? And thank you for that, because I grew up in probably the waspiest house in the world. We didn't talk about our issues. You got a feeling, you squash it, you work it out, you walk it off. If you're sad, oh, boo hoo, get over yourself, right? That's how I was raised, and nobody talked about anything.
And we see where that got us. We see where that's gotten us.
I wonder if we talk too much about stuff now too.
I do
But
think we do. I do think that happens sometimes, and I think that that does cause a sort of. And again, that's what happens with Dr. Google and everything else. We overdiagnose ourselves without actually having. There's a lot of that's been the big talk lately too, is about this self-diagnosis about these things without real criteria to say, well, do you really have depression or are you just kind of bummed out? Like there's a natural emotion that, we get sad sometimes, but that doesn't mean you're clinically depressed.
yeah, I mean, I joke about it a lot. Like if something happens to my kids or whatever, the boy, it's like, so rub some dirt on it, or
Yeah.
you know, walk it off. But no, seriously, there's a combination. We swing this pendulum too far one way or the other, and we're not very good at keeping it in the right balance in the middle, right? But yeah, we never talked about it growing up, but now I think we talk about it maybe a little too much. I don't know, but it feels good. It feels good to let people know, like, look, we're all struggling.
Yep, we are.
Thank you for that. I think it's great what you just said with the pendulum, because I say that with not just mental health, but I think with everything. It's one
Oh,
extreme or the other. There's no like kind of middle ground. It's just everyone has to be this extreme or this extreme or that extreme. And it's like I don't know why we have to take it to those extremes. We can't just find some balance.
everybody's wearing their feelings on their sleeves, and and it's like, I don't know, you know, I everybody wants a special case. It's stressful. It's stressful.
It is
Um,
stressful. I agree. I think and Will and I have talked about this, on the air probably and off the air. And this is my own personal belief, is I think that a lot of us want to be heard, want to be validated, want some recognition, or just have some kind of deficit in the self-love category that kind of makes us crave some of that, And I'm not saying as a negative thing. As humans, we crave some of that, But if we take it too far, it can be detrimental not only to us but to others.
yeah. And so where aren't we getting it? Are we just not getting it early on in age? Because, you know, kids these days, but it's not kids these days, it's parents these days. So it's our generation.
It's everybody
It,
these days.
it's our
It's
generation that we see a kid and they're crying, so we hand them an iPad. We see a kid and they're annoying. They're asking, "Mommy, what's this? Daddy, what's this? Daddy, what's this? What, you know, Daddy, can we do this?" Oh, just go watch TV. We push our generation, the adults, the parents. We use electronics as the babysitter. So we're perpetuating this issue. I don't know.
Yeah, and I have found myself in the years past I've done that. I did it because it was me. Like it's amazing what was ingrained that you thought was comforting to you as a kid, but actually was a negative in reality because you watch too much TV. Because I mean, again, I'm the MTV generation. Like I spent most of my time in front of the TV. By the time like 1981, 82 rolled around, MTV was never off my TV when I had chance to watch it, and I used the TV as a babysitter, and I
Yeah,
found myself doing the same thing.
I grew up in Herkimer and we didn't have MTV. So we had Friday night videos, and I'd have to stay up really late after the late shows on Friday night to watch an hour long of videos. And
On the
then
public access channel that may not be there that week.
and then we got into roller skating, and because the roller rink would have videos, music videos up on the screen, and I would just sit and watch the music videos. Um, I wasn't going there. I mean, I could roller skate and I do it all that, but I was really there to see the videos. And yeah, I might have been obsessed with music at a very young age, I guess. But it,
Did it provide
probably did.
you? Well, so as a child and having ADHD, and how did you find the camera? Is the camera the first thing you found? Is
Okay,
that
so this is fun. This is so I was in second grade, and again, I was a straight A student, right? Like tested all the charts. academically tested, pretty high. But I was go, and I finished my homework, first in the class, or one of the first in the class. I'd finish my homework, and then I'd get bored, so I would do stupid things. I was an obnoxious little kid, right? And they'd send me to the principal's office, but it's like, I had the grades. So back then, they threw me into a computer, like an Apple IIe or Apple Junior or something, like an old Apple. And I would get into that, and then I actually started our first school newspaper when I was in middle school. Middle school back then was 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. We had a weird system, but I started our first middle school newsletter, printed. It was called the Foley Flash, and we did that on the Apple. These are all the things that they would let me do. I kind of got out of class because the teachers were like, he's got all the grades, he knows the knowledge, so they let me out of class. In 7th grade, I helped my shop teacher build a kit car, right, to keep me busy. And then maybe it was around 7th or 8th grade that they were like, well, let's give him a camera. And that was film, of course. And then let's give him a dark room. And so I had access to cameras and photography and dark rooms up at Herkimer County Community College. It was great, man. Like, it was so weird because it was like, we don't know what to do with them. Give them this. The other thing I found was exercise. I found lifting weights. I loved sports. I loved music. So I would just do all day long. So that's how I got into photography is, some teacher didn't want to deal with me and like, give them a camera.
Wow. Thank goodness for that teacher, man.
They did the same thing to computers. So it's like, here, put them in front of a computer. Eventually, I was the one who was teaching a lot of the stuff on the computers going through school. I worked in computer labs. I worked on the internet in college. I did all that because it kept me busy. It kept my mind occupied.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, so
Really
because
a nerd.
you're really a nerd. It's all good though, because it turned out to be great stuff. I mean, just think about all that stuff that, like, you've literally. This is what this is all about. It's all about the photography. It's all about the computer. It's all about the music. So it's.
Yeah, they threw stuff at me that I ended up falling in love with, and then here I am pushing 50 in a couple years, and I can still do all this stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing what age has taught me about myself and just about resilience and about being able to do stuff. Because I you get so hung up on when you're 20 being turning 50, and I turned 50 this year, and I was having a really hard struggling with it a bit when it first happened, and then I'm kind of relishing it actually.
30 was the hard year for me, man.
Was it?
Oh, turning 30. I went and I bought a Jeep. I went back and got my MBA. So I got my master's degree. I lost like a ton of weight. I went through a really midlife crisis at 30. So,
Well, it's better to get it out of the way. That way you can concentrate on being chill at an older age. We're here because of NipperFest. So why don't you tell everybody about NipperFest that doesn't know about NipperFest? And
so NipperFest is the Capital Region's largest and best. No, I don't know if it's the best, but I think it is. But it's the largest free local music festival that I don't know if it might be the largest one-day music festival we've ever had for all local bands, all local original bands. It's definitely the largest free one that we have in recent history. It's 15 bands, all from the Capital Region, and eight are going to be on the main stage, and 7 are going to be on the acoustic stage. We have incredible headliners. We have incredible openers. It's actually to the point where I didn't know who to put on first and who to put on early because they're all headline, like they're all incredible. That was tough. Like, what order do we put them in? But yeah, can I run through some of these bands? So
Absolutely. That's why we're here.
I, I needed a headliner, right? Like I needed a big name in the local scene, and I wanted a good headliner. So I reached out to the Figs, Cersei, and Super 400, and it was like, if I get one of these, I'm going to be happy. And all three of them were available. All three of them were interested, and all three of them really gave me a really what I felt was fair price, and that I couldn't say no. I just couldn't say no to those three bands. So that was how we started. Those three bands.
That's awesome.
And when all three said yes, my original intention was to have like a handful of bands and be like one rap, one country, one Americana, one rock, one metal, whatever. And that would have been okay, but it wouldn't have been as cohesive. But when those three said it, I was like, okay, we are having a rock stage. And I was like, well, I want to include all the singer songwriters we have because there's so many great ones. So I said, okay, we're going to do an acoustic stage. And then I reached out to Reese Fulmer, who's starting this project called the Forte Creative Group. And it's kind of a singer songwriter cooperative, right? And I reached out to him and said, hey, can you help me with the acoustic stage? Because Reese has great contacts, great dude, a lot of energy. And he sees that singer songwriters struggle, like and he wants to do this group, kind of like a support group for each other where they can help each other with gigs, maybe go on, share resources. So I reached out to him. I was like, can you help me do the acoustic stage? So he started having ideas for the acoustic stage, and it just started piling. Then I was like, March Madness. We do March Madness every year. It's really big. So whoever wins March Madness is going to be on the main stage. And I said they're going to open the main stage.
That's
So
cool.
so we got side B. And then I was like, oh, we got to fill this in. And so we have Aaron Harks doing originals and everything with the full band. We've got Girl Blue full band. Girl Blue is amazing.
Yeah, she's super talented. Yeah, super talented.
But with the full band, there is an energy better than Alanis Morissette. I mean, she gets compared to all these people, but she's so much better. We've got Glass Pony, what's really the premier jam band, progressive rock band on the scene. And we have Bad Mothers, what's the hottest young hard rock band going right now. That's the main stage, right? Cersei, Figs, Super 400, Bad Mothers, Girl Blue, Aaron Hart, Side B, Glass Pony. That's the main stage. Like that's any one of those bands is a good night out.
Well, three of those bands on one bill is a night out. Like
Well,
you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like three of those bands together playing at one night is a night out. So
so Super 400 and the Figs are both in the Eddie's Hall of Fame, right? And Cersei will be there as soon as they hit 25 years. I mean, like they are undoubtedly will be there. Those three bands have never played the same stage together.
that's very cool. And I'm not surprised that they've never played together, but it's very cool that they're gonna get to play together.
So, and then you look at the acoustic stage, and I was like, all right, we have so many young singer songwriters that are so talented. So, we've got Reese Fulmer, of course, who amazing. If you hear his stuff, it'll blow your mind. Katie Gallagher, who, by the way, is from my hometown of Herkimer, but she's up here. She's a local girl now here in the Capital Region. Um, Angelina Valente, who has the voice of an angel. Oh my God, great lyrics, but an incredible voice. I don't know if she's classically trained. Just oh my God, you're going to lose your breath. It's going to take your breath away. Um, Josh Cassano, not only a great dude, he's also a teacher in the Schenectady
Yeah,
system.
Josh is a great dude, talented dude, super cool.
So
Love Josh.
he's playing the acoustic stage. And I was really excited to have Sydney Worthley. And Sydney was kind of going to be my headliner because she's growing. She's really becoming a great artist. And then with some shifting around, um, I ended up moving somebody from the acoustic stage to the main stage because I thought Aaron Harks might come as a solo, and then when she came as the full band, I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to move you over to the main stage," and that gave me 2 spots available on the acoustic stage, and I was like, "Who the hell am I going to put between Super 400 and the Fakes that's going to hold interest over on the acoustic stage?" So I reached out to Sean Rao, he wasn't available. I reached out to the Sea of the Sea, they weren't available. And this was later in the game, and I was like, I'm going to reach out to Sawyer Fredericks. There's no way he's going to be able to do it for my budget because it's a free festival. So
Right.
budget, I'm, if I didn't get sponsors, I'm paying for this. And I told Laura this. I said, worst case scenario, we're spending about 25,000 out of our own money if we get no sponsors. And she was like, "You're going to get sponsors, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll try." I was prepared to spend 25 grand out of my own money to make this the right festival.
Wow.
I don't like doing anything half-assed. This festival is costing well over 25 grand. Trust me.
I guess
believe
you
it.
really don't like to do anything half-assed, man. That's dedication. Good for you. I mean, that says a lot about who you are and how you feel about this and your community. That's huge, man.
I was prepared. I mean, I ended up getting great sponsors. Frog Alley is presenting sponsor. A lot of people are confused. They think it's at Frog Alley. It's like, no, it's in Central Park. They're pouring the beer. All the beer will be Frog Alley. And then last minute Empire Media Group, they own Putnam Place, and they also own Capital Region Living and Saratoga Living magazines.
Yep.
They came through and they were like, "We'll be your stage sponsors." And that was huge props to them. But I needed it, so I went to Sawyer Fredericks. I said, "Here's the price I can do. It's a 45-minute set," and they came back and said, "We can do it as long as we can do an hour." I'm like, done. He wanted to play longer.
Wow.
Yeah, and he put out a great video, like about NipperFest, like a little fun video. NipperFest is his favorite local music festival, and I'm excited, and he's going to be on a bunch of radio stations interviewing. All the bands are beginning to get hit up now for interviews to push it. And then I told you I had 2 spaces, so I put him as the headliner. Now I felt like, wow, we have a real headliner on the acoustic stage, like a big headliner. I mean, Sydney's awesome, but Sawyer, he won The Voice, crazy. And then I had one more spot, so I was like, Ralph Renna's been doing a lot of stuff with Nippertown Radio. He's been doing some good stuff. He keeps telling me about all these originals he's writing. So I was like, I'm going to go back and do a little bit of a legend on the acoustic stage, and the tradition is opening the stage up. So,
Cool, man. Very cool.
So he's going with Peter and Aria. So it's actually going to be a 3-piece on the acoustic stage, opening things up. And I say acoustic stage, but they're really going electric. Because, it's Ralph. He's got to do it his way.
Yeah, and Peter's an incredible guitar player, man. Awesome. Such like a bluesy, like I saw him when we did the thing in Scatacoke. He was awesome.
No, he really is. And Aria is too. Incredible. But
Great.
yeah, so it's an acoustic stage, but the first band isn't necessarily acoustic. I think they have electric guitars and whatnot. But
Jim, when you said it's a Central Park, is there like an actual address for people that are looking to go, or they'll pretty much find it once they get in the area?
When they get in the area, they're going to find it. We're going to have signs up. I'm ordering
Okay.
things and banners, and I'm dropping I looked at ordering banners and signs, and there's another $1,000 gone. Nothing. Everything is $1,000, dude.
I know. It's crazy.
Just so everybody, and not to cut you off, Jim, according to Google, Central Park is 500 Iroquois Way in Schenectady. That's what it says.
Yes, that is correct.
I don't know if that's what's going to get you there or not. I found it the other day. I was going through, and I was over on Union, and I came through, and all of a sudden I'm in Central Park, and I didn't realize how I had even gotten there because I didn't realize how like in the middle of everything it really is.
And it's big.
Oh, it's
Okay.
huge. It's a huge park, so you're gonna have to pay attention to signs because you can get lost.
Well, you're going to hear it, right? It's in the center of the park is this beautiful amphitheater. It's beautiful. It's great. It's like a mini SPAC, and it's got seating, and it's got a hill with natural seating and everything. Wait until you guys see this, and the sound is unbelievable. Um, this it's such a great setting, and
Mhm.
so many people haven't been there because they do have a great music series. Music Haven has a great music series. I mean, just a couple weeks ago they had Steel Pulse, and they have Shamika Copeland coming up. Incredible music there, but it doesn't really hit the same people that NipperFest is going to hit. So a lot of people are going to go there for the first time, and they're going to see this amphitheater and go, "Whoa, whoa, what are we doing? This is incredible! Great sound, great space. We're in nature." So I talked to the city, and there's a big public pool there. It fits 1,000 people. It has 1,000-person capacity. The public pool there. They're going to have it fully staffed. So if it's hot that day, we're going to jump in the pool. If you don't like a band or you just want to hear the music and you want to walk around, there's disc golf. There's an 18-hole disc golf right there. There's tennis courts. There's a dog park. There's 2 playgrounds for kids. So this is kid-friendly, dog-friendly, family-friendly.
You're also going to have some vendors there, like Above Ground Podcast is going to have a table there with some resources.
We are going to have vendors there, like Above Ground Podcast. I think Cafe Lena's coming. Our sponsors are welcome to have tables, and we have a bunch of food trucks, dude. A bunch of food trucks.
Gotta
That's
have
what we're all
food.
waiting for. Yeah,
Gotta have food, man. That's what we're waiting for.
I mean, we have, we got kettle corn, we've got Ben and Jerry's, but we have burgers, we have mac and cheese, we have grilled cheese, we have pizza, we have Italian, we have tacos, we have, you name it. I think 8 food trucks coming. 8 food trucks. I think 9.
This
Nine.
is going to be great, man.
You only
I'm
see
getting
that many
excited.
food trucks outside the Capitol on a weekday. That's the only time you see that many food trucks in one area generally, unless you're at a fair.
Look, man,
Right.
we are setting up our own little town. This is Nippertown. I'm the mayor of Nippertown. I'm going to do it right.
I
Jim,
love it.
Jim, this is great. Like, really though, like, good for you, man. This is really a cool thing. Like, I think it's gonna, it's just gonna like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just gonna create like so much like connection, and it's just gonna spiral out and have this like effect, and people are just gonna be happy all day because it's just a cool thing to do, and you get out of the house, and you really don't have to spend much money at all.
No, it's a free festival. Like I said, and yeah, it's a park. So if you want to bring your own sandwiches, bring your own sandwiches, right?
Right.
But there will be water. There will be all that good stuff there. Stuff to do with the kids. You can walk around. It is a beautiful setting. We have great security. You guys are going to know all the guys from security. I have Vegas heading it up. I hired Vegas, and he's bringing the guys in from Empire Live.
Oh,
Empire.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so everybody's like the whole scene's gonna be there.
Yeah.
It is a community thing, but I was like, I need security, and I went to Fuzz, who I adore Fuzz, right? And I was like, who am I going to do for security? And he reached out to Vegas, and he was like, I got you. And he reached out to Vegas. I ended up talking to Vegas. I was like, yeah, Fuzz called that one. It was right. And so Vegas has security. We have a few SPD there. But it is a community thing, right? Like, and that's the wonderful thing. I'm trying really hard to do with Nippertown is it's not about one genre. It's not about 5 bands. It's about the whole scene. And we have a good community, and we're not in a place where we can argue and fight with each other. We have to lift each other all up. And that just means by gigs, we have people, don't cut each other down. You have the whole world outside trying to cut you down. In our community, we need to lift each other up. And if that means giving each other space, giving each other a hug, giving each other some encouragement, do it, right?
And if you need it, stop by the Above Ground podcast table because we'll have all the resources that you need for mental health and substance stuff. But we'll give you a hug.
And free hugs.
Free hugs,
free
man.
hugs.
Free hugs. Free hugs. This is,
This is great.
I think we're bringing Truman at least, so we'll have a therapy dog there.
Oh, awesome! I can't wait to see Truman. I'm trying to be real cognizant of your time.
Oh no, we're good. And I'm sorry, I get so excited about this stuff, and I'm already thinking about the next NipperFest, right? and
this is going to be the new Lollapalooza.
Oh, dude, I know who I want as the headliner for next year, but I'm gonna wait, see how this goes, and then I'm gonna reach out to them. I'm gonna start. Even though, don't tell Laura this. I know she'll listen. But I'm like, this is how my head works. Is like, well, everything on this one is kind of winding down. It's almost out of my hands at this point, right? All the bands are booked, production is booked, the food trucks are booked. I have to shout out to Amy Clemmy. Amy has done everything and above and beyond I've asked to help with NipperFest. It wouldn't have happened without her. She's on the Nippertown team. She's like, what can I do? I was like, we need food trucks. 2 days later, we had 6 food trucks signed up. I'm like, I need a logo. She threw together the logo. That poster was her and I collaborative going back and forth. And the poster is awesome. Everything, like, we need this, we need the shirts design, we need whatever. Amy has been, she's been incredible. Huge props out to her. It is a community thing, man. You can't do this on one person. You can't do this as much as you try to do it as one person. You just can't.
No, you can't. It does go to show that we need community, and community is super important.
And the night before is Summer Nights down in Schenectady, right? Listen to this week. Listen to this month. So 2 weeks ago, we had Gem Fest up in
Glens Falls at the Shirt Factory, right?
Yeah. Last week, we had Farming Man at Indian Ladder Farms. So the first week in July, we have Gem Fest. Second week in July, we have Indian Ladder Farms. We have Farming Man. Also great bands, Jagaloons, everybody killed it. And then we have the culmination, like NipperFest. July, if we can make July local music festival heaven, if at the end of July, if you don't like our music scene, then you're living under a rock.
That's putting it politely.
But yeah, man, it's so much. I know I get excited about it, and there's probably some pressured speech and stuff like that.
Your passion shows, man, and your love for our scene shows. And again, like, we're all very grateful, and like Tim and I are grateful to have this space that you allow us to put this show out every week upon.
I'm excited that you guys are on Nippertown, and now we're beginning to build a few more. We're bringing in some other podcasts, but Above Ground really kind of kicked it all off. Stories from a Bar and Above Ground kind of kicked off us showcasing podcasts. So I have a lot more I want to do with that, like really showcasing the region's podcast. Here's the mental health one. Here's the theater one. Here's the music one. So like when people are looking for podcasts for the local area, just come to Nippertown. We've got them. We've got all the best ones. We do.
Awesome.
I love it.
Awesome. So I just want to throw in that also, Saturday, July 23rd, if you have to work, don't be alarmed because it's going to be going on until 10 p.m. at night. And as Jim said, your dogs are welcome. Your kids are welcome. It's going to be plenty of food, plenty of drinks, plenty of hugs.
It's
plenty of music.
And it's outside, so we don't have to worry about COVID very much. Like whatever. It's outside. It's going to be rain or shine. We're doing it. It's going to be sunshine, but I don't care. Rain or shine, we're doing it. And we're going to love each other, and we're going to love the music. And, and if people, after this, if people say there's nothing to do in the Capital Region, you have my permission to slap them upside the head.
Yeah, I don't get where people say there's nothing to do in the Capital Region. There's always something to do in the Capital Region.
Go to Nippertown every day. Like I said, Mike Stampelli does today's top tips. Every day there's something incredible. Every day.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're airing this July 20th, right?
Yes, the Wednesday. This is the episode for that Wednesday. Episode 162.
So tonight, Rockin' on the River with Blue Machine and Super 400. Tomorrow night, Alive at 5. Friday night, Summer Nights in Schenectady. Saturday, NipperFest. Those are the next 4 days. These are the next 4 days in our Capital Region. Rockin' on the River with Super 400, right? July 20th. Now, if you want a big national band, of course, Black Keys are up at SPAC on July 20th. We know that. They're up there tonight. But Super 400. And yeah, they are playing NipperFest just 3-4 days. And Lori called and she's like, "Hey, can we do this?" I'm like, not only can you do it, when you're up on stage, promote the heck out of NipperFest and tell them to come do the community event. Like I'm not going to hinder local musicians from playing. I want them to play. I want them to do this, right?
Right.
You're going to see me on stage tonight at Rockin' on the River promoting NipperFest. I'm going to sneak up there. They either let me up there or I'm going to jump. We're going to go promote the local scene. Tomorrow night, again, Alive at 5, another great series in Albany. We'll be there. We'll have a tent. We'll be promoting NipperFest, but we're really promoting all the local scene. And then Friday, we'll be at Summer Nights, and that's in Schenectady. Yes, they have Better Than Ezra, but they're also going to have Hasty Page, and they have Sly Fox and the Hustlers. So they have great local bands there. And then the week culminates. We will see everybody on Saturday. Come to the Nippertown booth. Say hello to Laura. Say hello to Truman, right? And if you see me running around, just stop me, grab me, give me a hug, give me a high five, give me a fist bump, whatever you want. But come see us at NipperFest.
Awesome. So we always finish up this episode with 3 questions. So I'm going to let Timmy ask the first one.
Jim, do you have a favorite or a least favorite word?
Okay, my favorite word is probably heart. It's what I start every Wordle with. Wordle is 5 days.
Yeah.
So for me, heart is throwing your heart into it. You love. It's everything. You got to have heart, right? You do it with heart. My least favorite word is but, B-U-T. My kids will tell you that was a swear word in my house with them growing up. B-U-T, because whatever comes after the word but is an excuse. There is nothing. The but is, to me, the most foul word in the English language, because whatever comes after it is an excuse. Those are my favorite and my least favorite.
Excellent, man. Excellent.
I always improvise this next question. I've been improvising this next question based on what we talk about and things, and knowing you and Laura and stuff. I'm curious to know for yourself. You just got married recently. I think for the second time.
It is for the second time, yep.
So what I want to know is, what is the difference between you then and you now? Is there one thing that stands out for you that you can, like, for us people out there who have been married for very long or getting married, that you can, is there any advice?
Yeah, so for me, I kind of figured out the time between my marriages. I figured out who I was, and I figured out what I liked and who I was as a person. And I think you need to be in a relationship where you can be yourself. You could be your authentic self. And the wonderful thing with Laura is we don't always agree. Of course, we don't always agree, but she loves me for my authentic self with all the little quirks and the issues and the ADHD and my anxiety and everything else. And I love her for all of her quirks and all of her stuff and her incredible cooking, and her kindness. But she could be her authentic self. I could be my authentic self. So when we come together, we don't lose who we are. I'm still Jim, right? Like this young notion of love is, oh, the two of us, we become one, like the Benefers of the world or whatever, right? No, a good marriage, a good relationship is, yes, you're together, you're committed to each other, but you can still be individuals and you can still have your own identity, and you're just better together. You're not one, you're better together. And that's my advice.
That's awesome. That's
Damn.
awesome. Wow,
Jim's
that's dropping
bombs.
If we didn't have another question after that, that would have been a mic drop. But
that was great, man. I agree with you. I think you both are lucky where you are, and you're lucky to have each other. You're both great people. It's just awesome, man. Thank you.
I'm incredibly lucky to have Laura. Yes.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's full of knowledge. So the last question is, did you have something, Will?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
I didn't know. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't know if I cut you off. That's the only reason why I asked. If there was something that you could do or that you would like to see done for mental health as a whole without any kind of restraint, what would it be?
Yeah. So mental health needs to start young. So, we want to put all this money into people when they're older and whatever. And we spend all this on, we spend so much money on incarceration and imprisonment and the prison system. And what I think I think our judicial system is a result of not giving proper mental health at a younger age. So if we take some of that money and we invest it in kids at a young age, and we really foster and invest in our youth, then a lot of those problems that lead people into drug addiction or crime or those type of things will go away. And it's just reinvesting our money, reinvesting our resources from dealing with an issue way too late and investing that money early on. Let's take care of our kids, give them hugs. And can you tell that I'm married to a social worker? But I do believe this in all of my heart. I think I've believed this for a long time, and just being married to Laura just reinforces it, because I can see the earlier you hit a kid, earlier you hit a kid with these not hit with like physically, but hit them with the resources to feed them. How can a kid thrive if they're hungry? They have fear. Give them hugs, kisses, give them a safe environment. We need to invest our time, our energy, our money into the youth. That's my answer.
Awesome. Thank you
so much. And a damn fine answer it was, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's great.
That's right. So this Saturday at the Central Park Music Haven, it is NipperFest. Jim Gilbert, we can't thank you enough for being here this morning, man. We can't thank you enough.
You guys enough for this. My favorite episode is episode 142, of course, right?
Of course, with Laura, of course.
So when you're done listening to this episode, go listen to 142 with Laura D. She is a wonderful woman, wonderful wife, wonderful community member. So I love that I'm married to somebody who's so passionate about her field, because she understands why I'm so passionate about what I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. Timmy, another good one, man. Another good one. So we hope to see everyone out Saturday. Rain or shine, family friendly, pet friendly. So many great acts. Above Ground Podcast will be there. We can't wait to see everyone. Free hugs. Come stop by. Until next week, get well.
Be safe.
Stay
above. Thank you for giving us a listen. New episodes every Wednesday. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can share, rate, review, and even subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. Other ways to support the show: follow us on social media, share the content, share our episodes. You can also buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/abovegroundpod. For further concerns, show ideas, or just to say hi, you can email us at abovegroundpodcast@gmail. Once again, thank you for listening and supporting mental health. Keep the conversation going and stay above.